there is any spirits here with us right now, who can use the spirit box to communicate with us, can you try and say the guy's name who is hosting this show? Can you try and say his name? Can you try and say Lee? There you go. Did you hear that?
What's up?
Welcome to the Paranormal TV show,
Also known as the Ghost Hunting TV Talk Show.
We are 2/3 of Three Girls in the Dark.
And we are currently live with guest host Sophia Temperilli.
Thank you guys for having me co-host today. I know it's just going to be an awesome show. I'm also a host on liveparanormal.com, the ghost host, every Saturday from 12 to 1 p.m. So just thank you guys for this crossover. I know it's going to be great. It's my first time co-hosting a show, so it's going to be awesome.
Awesome. We're excited.
Me too.
What are you doing?
Please.
Why is he hiding?
He's hiding so much.
Are you our guest
Very much.
today?
Thank you for that. Just charming, that. Everybody knows I do the intros on this show. But no, Three Girls have come and they've stolen it from me.
We're taking over. We're taking over.
It's ours.
We're just taking it.
Ladies are in charge.
I just don't even feel like doing the show no more since you've just
You're outnumbered today.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you are.
just go and buy some handbags.
Oh! Maybe we should go to the kitchen and cook something for you.
Yeah, you want a sandwich?
Make a sandwich.
I'm only joking. It's a pleasure to have you back on the show. So what's changed since last time you came on?
It's been a little while, yeah.
So what's changed? What have you been doing?
We have a lot coming up. We've
have-
been doing a lot of planning.
We have acquired a new team member, a person that we are affiliated with now. She is a psychic medium out of the St. Louis area. Her name is Melissa, so we're excited to bring her on the team. That's something different for us. We haven't really worked with medium before. So we haven't actually been able to bring her on investigation yet because she just joined like a month ago, so we're really excited to bring her on.
Nice one. So we have the guest host, Sophia, on the show. What's been happening since the last time we spoke?
I started my junior year, so that's interesting. Basically just normal stuff at the moment, being in high school and hanging out with friends at the moment.
No problem. So, Gina and Emily, has your views changed at all since the last time, or are you still a skeptic and an open-minded believer? I believe that's what you were last time.
Yep, absolutely. We've only gone on one investigation since the last interview, which didn't really change our views, I would say, but it was really exciting. We went to the Missouri State Penitentiary.
Which was awesome, yeah.
That was really fun. But yeah, no, nothing has really changed on the way we view the paranormal.
Nice one. Let me remind you what you actually called Gina on the last.
I know what I called her.
You called her a flapping screen door or something. Then, is that
The worst of it though, like I called Christy a giant cavernous cave, like full of like fucking, it's like a ghost masquerade ball in there. So
She's called me worse. So.
Nice one. So what have you got planned for the future then? What investigations are you thinking of booking or looking at?
We have 2 investigations scheduled this year that we're really excited about. One in November is for the Morse Mill Hotel, which is in Morse Mill, Missouri. We've actually been there 3 times now without actually like doing a real investigation. We've popped in and out for little things. But this November we will conduct a full-on investigation, be there for 8+ hours, and get it done. And then December we are going to the Villisca Axe Murder House. I don't know if you've heard of that place. Yeah, somebody was murdered with an axe, obviously.
A few people.
Actually, a whole family was.
Whole
a few
family.
children and the parents. So, and the murder was never solved either. So it's kind of an interesting thing to get into because you could potentially find out answers that no one has ever discovered about the situation. So we're going there in December, and that's going to be really fun too.
We're also hosting a Halloween party.
Oh yeah.
Which is something new for us. It's more fun than work.
Yeah.
And we have 3 potential private cases that we're looking into.
Right. We haven't scheduled those yet.
Nice one. That sounds pretty interesting. I'm gonna actually hand you over to the next camera. So it's gonna be your first question, Sophia. What is it gonna be?
So I know the A-Team was a popular show here in the U.S. Yet, Emily, how did you earn Mr. T's character name B.A. Baracus as 3 Girls in the Dark Investigator?
That's not actually my name. That's her name. She's the B.A. Baracus. And it's only because of the tattoos and the hardcore,
So lame.
look she has. She's a lot softer than she looks, but we just like to mess around with her because she doesn't like to be called that. So it's more of just because she looks a lot tougher than she really is. She's really a softie.
So, going back to the investigation, what you were just talking about, the place where there's been loads of murders, the Axe Murder House. So, because someone was murdered there, would you say that there's a high chance that they would haunt that location?
Well, they say, and it's all theory, obviously, but they say that when a tragic event has happened in a building that the energy is kind of absorbed into the walls and the wood, like something that's porous, like stone or wood or anything that can keep energy easily is, they say if a tragic event happens that it tends to keep it a lot easier than in, just like someone dying of old age type of situation. So that's, like I said, that's theory. So, I think a lot of people hope that that's true. We hope that that's true whenever we go there. We haven't been able to investigate a murder scene situation before, so this will be our first time, maybe trying to prove if that's true or not.
Sounds interesting. Later on, we're going to play a video from the... Can you remind me the name of the venue? I don't know. But later on we will be showing a video of you 3 girls in action.
Oh, okay.
And basically you're doing like a documentary.
We have many documentaries, yeah.
Yeah, and the documentary, I've noticed that you only do documentaries if you capture evidence.
If we capture enough evidence. That's kind of pointless to put together something that's 2 or 3 minutes long whenever you have like one piece of audio to show. So
yeah, if that's the case, we just add it to our library on our website. But if we catch enough things to tell a story, or it's a story we want to tell, then we'll go ahead and put it into like a mini documentary.
Impact Mansion, I think. Is that the one? Is that the one?
Yeah, McPike Mansion. Yeah, we've actually been there twice. So this documentary has 2 different investigations findings in it. So we were able to compile, the 2 investigations together to make something worthy of a mini doc.
Nice one. I'm going to hand you over to Sophia.
So, I know there are a lot of members in your team. Can you tell us their names and what their roles are within your team?
Sure. Well, we might as well start off with Christy, who's not here, obviously. She's the 3rd girl. She is also our sensitive. I don't really, the last time I was on, I kind of explained that I don't really get into the sensitive type of thing. I kind of stay away from.
She's closed.
I'm closed off. I don't feel energy. I don't feel any of that stuff. So whenever someone talks about being sensitive, I don't understand that. So
She's not a flapping screen door.
She's not a flapping screen door. She's actually a cavernous cave.
She lets everything in.
Everything comes in and everything comes out easily. So that's how I describe sensitivity, really, because I don't understand it. Christy is our sensitive. She's also the redhead. She steals your soul. If you're too polite or too sweet, she'll steal your soul. Ginger. And then who's not here right now, Shauna. She's our case manager. She does everything that we don't want to do. She does all the hard stuff. Yes, we thank her so much for that. She answers the phone. She answers the emails. She schedules things on her calendar. She sets up meetings with clients. She does all the hard stuff, really. And then our last member would be Jeffrey. He is, how do I describe Jeffrey? He does, he's our base camp bitch. He basically does the
He helps set up, he helps tear down, he does evidence review. He is definitely a huge help in part of our team, but we do joke around and call him Base Camp Bitch.
Yeah.
So
he goes and gets the coffee or the batteries, like when we need batteries or something, which we usually come with a lot of batteries, but I mean, if something happens where we run out, he'll go get the batteries or he'll go get coffee when we're getting tired. So
he also watches our live DVR feed while we're actually inside. And then he might like radio in to us, letting us know there's something else going on in another room, so we can maybe go into that room. So he also watches out over the place or whatever location we're doing to kind of let us know maybe where we should move on to next.
He's kind of the man of the team. He'll like to hear that. And that's it. That's our team right now. Besides the new the psychic that we brought on, like I said, we haven't been able to bring her on an investigation yet, but we are excited to. So we haven't really worked, as a team with her yet. So
we've tested her.
We've tested her, and she has succeeded, and she has impressed very well. So
tell me how you tested her.
We took her. Well, we
blindly took her.
We said, get in the car, and you're just going to go somewhere with us. And we drove like 2 hours away. 2 hours in the car, and she had no idea where she was going.
She didn't know where she was going because we didn't want her to look up anything about the location. And we took her.
Not that we think that she would do that, but sometimes you don't know. So, we want to make sure she has no prior influence to the situation she's coming into. So we took her to actually the place that we're going in November, Nick Pike Mansion. Or no, Morse Mill. Sorry, I get those two mixed up because they're very close in name. Morse Mill in Missouri. We're taking her back there in November for the actual investigation. But she went there, when was it? In August? It was in August. She went there with us, and she walked around and just kind of spoke what was coming to her spirit-wise, and I think she uses her, what are those?
Spirit guides?
Spirit guides. I don't know anything about this stuff.
A grid of life.
To tell her about any of the energy or any spirits that are there. So she walked around and got some information from her spirit guides, and she was
relaying it to the owners and the caretakers of the place, and the not only about the place, but it seemed as if some personal messages came through for the caretakers, which really blew them away, and things that she did not know about the house prior to being there. So she did really well. She kind of blew them away.
She blew us away too.
Yeah, we had her read each one of us also, which was really interesting. Yeah. And overall, she did very well. So we decided to keep her on.
Sounds good. I think that's a good thing about mediums. Like if you can kidnap them, so to speak.
Right. We're not gonna murder you, I promise.
Yeah. You barely know us.
And then take them somewhere without knowledge of where they're heading to, and then if they pick up some significant history, then I do suppose, as a skeptic myself, that would be a bit... It won't convince me of spirits, but it would convince me that she may have some kind of ability. So I'm gonna go that way.
Sorry, go ahead.
So, are there any childhood experiences or any experience that led you into the field of the paranormal?
I definitely was influenced by my own experiences to get into this. When I was younger, I had some things happen that were questionable that, if you talked about, people would think you were crazy. And it was always something I was kind of drawn to naturally to begin with. And then when I was 15, my mom took me on my first ghost hunt. And then I was kind of hooked because I didn't know it was like an actual thing that you could do. And this is prior to like all the TV shows, and I think there was like some ghost shows out there, but not like the ones we have today, where they're actually investigating. It was more like storytelling. Yeah. And I kind of got hooked, and so I guess when I was 15 is when I really started taking it seriously, and which we've discussed before that it's kind of hard to find people who are as serious about this as you are.
Some people just want to do it for fun and like, ooh, it's scary. Let's go do something fun.
But I think we all were like sort of searching for answers or just want to know that we're not crazy, you know? So
I wouldn't say that I was searching for answers.
She's different.
I really didn't have a lot of experiences growing up. And I know some people would disagree with this, but my father built a lot of the houses we lived in, so I lived in brand new houses. That doesn't mean there wasn't energy on the property that we purchased, but I think that's less likely for you to come in contact with spirits because there aren't generations and generations of families that have, passed through this building or this home that you've moved into. So I think that's one of the reasons why I really didn't have a lot of experiences growing up. But
she was just weird.
I was.
She just wanted to find dead bodies.
Well, here's the thing, though. I wasn't really weird. I had a normal childhood. I played sports. I had friends. I did a lot of things that a normal child would do, but I had that deep, dark, weird person inside of me, and I would always go to the creek behind my house and look for dead bodies once in a while, when I was like 10. So there was a part of me that was like striving for that like
experience,
like weird, scary, creepy stuff. So now that I can finally like express it, I think it's really cool. But back then, if I would have tried to express it, would not have been okay. So yeah, now I can be.
I think because Emily's like the closed door, or she's not sensitive and she doesn't feel or see that stuff. I think she's also sort of searching for that experience.
I am. That's where I was going to go into from what I was saying, and I kind of lost track. I do that a lot. But I didn't really have a lot of experiences growing up, so I'm kind of like, why not? Why didn't I have any experiences? I want to see what this is all about. I want to know. I want to see what people see. I want to hear what people see. So it's more of like I'm just trying to fill that void in me. And other people are just trying to figure out what happened to them and what it means.
Some people would say you're not missing out, depending on what their experience was.
Yeah, definitely. With my experience, you weren't missing out on anything.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure I probably would have not liked it very much if I would have had experiences growing up. But, being the one that didn't have those, and like almost everyone you meet, I swear to God, everyone I meet has a story. And I'm like, what? I don't have anything.
She's filling a void. She's a void she's trying to fill.
I don't know.
Yeah, when I first started out in the paranormal, I felt that way. Then I lived in a haunted house, so it kind of changes your perspective once you actually have that happen to you.
Mm-hmm. I would love to live in a haunted house.
Not mine. I was stalked like every day. That was scary. Oh my God.
Especially for a kid who doesn't really know what's going on, it can be kind of traumatic.
Yeah. Like, I had been in the field a couple years before the experience, but I was still pretty young. I was 9 when it happened, and I started in the field when I was 8, so.
Wow, you started young.
Yeah. Been in it half my life now, so.
That's interesting.
No, that's awesome because I guess, I was 15 when I went on my first ghost hunt, but, I mean, since then, I've always been involved. I mean, our team has only been together 3 years, but we've been involved with the paranormal much longer than that. So I've been involved in it half my life also now that I'm 31, so.
Yeah, I haven't been involved in it that long. Obviously, I've been interested in things like this my whole life, but I actually like doing things. I would say the first time I ever went out on my own was probably like, I don't know, 21 or 22, going into like abandoned houses and like.
Still a good chunk of time.
I mean, I was doing things. I was doing investigating, but it wasn't like real legit investigating. I would take like an EVP recorder and your phone camera.
But that's how you start out. I mean, how else are you supposed to like evolve into
Yeah, I started out with my family going on a tour on the Queen Mary, so.
Yeah, nice.
And that's what I did with my family. Is, we're not very far from Alton, where we live at, so we went on a tour out there.
I've done the Alton tours several. I did them like 3 years in a row before we started our team. So I've been on the tours, and I think that's kind of what made me really want to do this as like a legit real thing. Because going on the tours only gets you so far, and you only get to see so much, and so much. You really don't know what you're hearing or seeing because there's 30 other people with you. So it's like once you get in there and you go to a tour like that, it makes you want to do the real thing, because it's just, you can't tell what you're seeing or hearing when there's 30 other people there.
What made you
Yeah.
decide to go on a tour?
My weird side.
What'd you say?
What made you want to go on a tour?
Oh,
Just finding, I mean, like, you hear about the tour and you're like, oh, that sounds like fun. It's kind of like, the people that talk to us about they want to go on a tour, they want to go on an investigation with us. It's something different, and it's something interesting, and
it's a different kind of fear for some people.
It's an adrenaline rush kind of thing, and I think that, before I knew anything about what investigating really was and that people could go out and do it, that was the closest that I could get to a ghost in my mind. So I went on
or
tours.
something else.
Or something else.
It's a ghost.
Or anything.
A couple options out there.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, this is what I think about why people choose to go on ghost hunts. I'm not sure about tours, but I would say the majority of people who would choose to go on a ghost investigation, I think they would either encounter some kind of a passing in their family, so a grandma or granddad or something like that, and then it would make them want to go on an investigation to try and communicate with their loved ones or family members. And I would say that's probably the biggest reason why people would like to go on ghost investigations, but I actually do feel it's changed from the 70s to now, because it's changed into a night out, which someone mentioned just a sec ago. It's like, oh, it's Saturday night, let's go and pay £40 to go and hunt some ghosts. But I don't think every person would have actually wanted to go on a ghost hunt to contact a loved one, but I do feel nowadays it's changed to like a sugar rush type thing, where it's like you just want to get a bit of adrenaline to maybe experience something. I'd like to know what you two actually think on it, Sophia and Gina and Emily.
Well, I'll go first. I was actually going to agree with you, but also disagree with you at the same time, because I never once. My father passed away when I was 16, so in my mind, when it came across like paranormal instances, my father never popped in my head. I've never even thought about trying to communicate with him. I don't know if it's because I don't want to. I don't know. It wouldn't scare me, I don't think, but I wouldn't like it. I think I like the idea that he has passed on, and he's not there to communicate kind of situation. And then there's also the instances where things that are on the other side can impersonate what you want to hear. So how do you know you're actually hearing from your loved one that you're looking to hear from? That's kind of scary. So for me, it's never been about communicating with my father, ever. Not even once have I thought about trying. But for other people, I think that might be true. But for me, it's definitely not.
For me, I don't know. I think people get into it for multiple reasons. I think right now it's very trendy with the shows, and it's something to experience, and people like to experience new things, and they want to try it out and see it. And I mean, that's cool. And I think other people might be searching for something and they don't know where to start, and that might be a way to get involved. I think people have their personal motives, like you said. Maybe something's happened to them, and they kind of want to have an experience to either communicate or find out information or something like that. For me, it was, like I said, a natural curiosity. I think my mom definitely knew that I had a natural curiosity towards it, and she kind of just saw this opportunity to take me, and that's what it was for me. It was a way to kind of get involved when you don't really know where to start or what to do. It's like, go on a ghost hunt, see what happens, see who you meet, and you start to network and talk to people and find out there's groups and things, to start getting involved with. So I think it's maybe probably different for everybody.
Yeah. So, Sophia, what do you think causes people to go on ghost hunts?
Well, I know for my family personally, my parents started watching the show Sightings and the X-Files when they were dating in the 90s. So, when they saw the psychic from Peter James from Sightings go on the tour on the Queen Mary. He was hosting it. They decided to go, and me as a child, I was just one of those weird kids. I always loved Halloween. The Ghost and Legends tour on the Queen Mary, I would go on it like 6 times in a row, and my parents said like everyone would be freaked out, and I would just love it. I'd be laughing. I don't know, that's weird. So I just got jealous when they went on one, which is odd for an 8-year-old or 7-year-old at the time. I'm not sure, it was end of 7-year-old, 8. It was just a natural curiosity for me that my parents then asked the psychic, is this an okay place for her to go? And he said, yeah, she can come. And that's how I got started. It was just kind of a natural progression for me. I've always loved Halloween and all of that stuff. And I know for some of my friends, it's also just a natural curiosity. I don't know if it's a death that makes them do that, but I know a lot of my friends, it just is something they're interested in, or they'll see the show and it will spark their curiosity.
Yeah.
Cool. So, Emily, this question is towards you, actually. What would you say that you collect? Evidence or research?
What do you mean?
What type of evidence we collect?
Yeah, like, would you prefer the word evidence or would you prefer the word research with what you're trying to capture?
I like the word evidence.
Evidence could go both ways.
Yeah, that's
It
true.
could tell, it could explain paranormal, or it could explain that it's not paranormal.
Right. Well, me being the debunker of the team, I'm constantly trying to prove what we are seeing and hearing is really paranormal before I get excited about it. So I guess, evidence would be the way that I would describe it. I mean, obviously everything is research because this whole field is research in general. We haven't seen an end. Like, you know what I mean? Like, nobody knows when something is going to be proven 100% and if it'll ever be in our lifetime. So the whole field is just basically research, but I like calling it evidence because to me, if I cannot prove that it's not paranormal, in my mind, it's evidence.
It's actually funny because in the scientists can actually prove something, but then later on down their line they can actually prove it to be not true. So even if we do get to a stage where paranormal activity has been proven to be existing, then surely down the line it could go the other way as well.
Yeah, well, science disproves itself all the time. So, as soon as you think it's one thing, later down the road it's another. Yeah. So the more information you collect, the better opinion or theory you can form. But, right now that's what it is theories and evidence and sharing evidence and trying to come up with some sort of answers.
Right.
That's it. I'm going to hand you over to Sophia for a question.
So how do you balance family life with all of your investigating, having jobs, doing broadcasts like this? How do you balance all of that?
I don't know if we can balance it.
I'm pretty sure that being on this team has taken over my life.
It has become,
this is our way of living now.
A hobby has become a full-time job.
Yeah.
I do work full-time. I do have a family at home. And I do paranormal full-time now. So it's hectic and it's crazy and it's madness, but it's awesome.
Well, it's also, it's kind of hard to get it out of your brain when you love what you do so much that it's just constantly on your brain anyways.
We meet every Tuesday, so you know that Tuesday is dedicated to Three Girls in the Dark. Yep. We try to investigate once a month or once every 2 months, so you can kind of plan that into your schedule, that something like that's going to be coming up. Yeah. Besides that, during the day, I work a normal job, and during the night, we do paranormal.
We don't know what happens
in between, you do family. So, I don't have like a set schedule that says we have to do this, then you're not. You kind of just go with the flow, but it's madness. It's crazy.
I do. Should I call it a full-time job? I work for myself. So I can kind of come and go as I please, but at certain points I'm working 8 hours a day too, just like everybody else, but if I feel like I want to take an hour or two break, I can come back later. But I do graphic design, so I work for myself, and I can also kind of put Three Girls in the Dark into that as well at the same time. Like we both designed the logo for our team. I do some of the flyers and things like that, and I do the website, so I can kind of incorporate the team into my work schedule.
Emily and I went to college together. That's how we met, and we're both designers. Only I work for the man.
She works for the man. I work for a bitch.
So she. Her boss is a bitch.
My boss is a bitch.
So she has more opportunities to kind of incorporate Three Girls in the Dark into her daytime.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm more on the nighttime and weekends.
Yeah. And I do have a family at home too. I've got a family. I've got a home. Just like everybody else. So that's why whenever we disperse the evidence to go through on the team members, we try to give everybody 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Tops to go over evidence. I know sometimes that's too long, sometimes that's too short. But
depending on how much we have. I mean, if we each have 10 hours of evidence to go through, we usually get a month.
Yeah,
around a month.
Because everybody's got lives outside of the paranormal, so we got to make sure that people can fit in an hour a day or something.
Right. And then when you break it down like that, it's not as bad.
Yeah.
Right, and so as you might notice, I've got a video up in the background that I'm gonna play, and we'll watch you in action, yeah?
All right.
Okie doke.
We are here at the McPike Mansion, which is said to be one of the most haunted locations in Alton, Illinois, where Henry McPike built and lived his whole life, and he is said to haunt this place as well as several other ghosts. One of them being Sarah, who apparently fell down the stairs right in that other room. We're about ready to investigate and see what we can find. The McPike Mansion is a well-known haunted location in Alton, Illinois. The building is actually still being rehabbed at the moment. It's going on about 10 years now. They're slowly rehabbing it and are using the money they make on the investigations to put it to the house. McPike Mansion is actually also called Mountain Lookout, and McPike was named the McPike Mansion because of the original owner, Henry McPike.
Henry McPike used to be one of the mayors of Alton.
McPike has a lot of claims of activity that people hear the name Henry in their EVPs. There's also a mist that shows up in the cellar that was actually caught on one of the TV shows.
During an SB7 session, we asked if anyone in the cellar wanted grapes, and we believe we have a male's voice responding no, that could be Henry.
Would you like some grapes?
We also caught on video during an SB7 session what sounds like 2 wine glasses hitting each other.
What is your favorite wine? Is anybody in here with us right now? During the investigation, it actually started storming later on in the night, which was contaminating our EVPs and some of our evidence, because the cellar actually had a lot of dripping noises, so we couldn't pick up much on the EVPs.
One of the things they say about the town of Alton is the reason it's so haunted is a lot of the limestone bricks that were in the prison wound up being parts of the foundation walls of a lot of the buildings here in town. Most of the buildings were built in around the mid-1860s. This building in particular was 1869. They closed the Alton prison in 1865, and a lot of the stones from that massive facility down there were scattered and used throughout town.
So that was the video what you have on YouTube, the documentary. I'd actually like to congratulate you on that because that's a good documentary. I loved it. It's cool.
Okay.
It's some good work. But I've got some questions about it.
Sure. It's one of our first ones, by the way, so be nice.
So obviously because you got some evidence, what you thought as evidence, you thought that would be a good reason to do the documentary, yeah?
Yes. We thought what we picked up was,
Unexplained.
Unexplained enough to where we could put something together.
Yep. You know that I'm truthful towards everyone who comes on, and there's only one thing I don't like, and that's Frank's boxes. I despise them. I was looking out the window.
We had this discussion last time.
Yeah.
But I must admit, the glass sound was a bit strange.
Yeah.
It's okay, so it's a wine cellar, and the place is known for their wine.
And we were speaking about wine and the owner's favorite type of wine, and we had never heard that sound before, and haven't heard it since then on the spirit box. So,
and it's usually you hear voices, or the spirit box can,
like, radio stations will come through and things like that.
But when you were in the cellar while it was happening, because I know when sometimes you transfer the audio and everything, like even on the documentaries, it can be altered and it's not as clear as the personal experience you had at the time. When it happened, it was like a ding,
it was loud and it echoed in the cellar, and we were all like, "Oh shit!"
Like an actual toast, it sounded like someone toasting. So it was really interesting because a lot of times when you get evidence, it is whisper, or it's a footsteps or whatever. But that was like a sound of an action happening. So we thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, with the words, I wouldn't even believe that even if it said my name, which on the introduction of the actual show, there's someone who got a Frank's box, and it sounds like it says Lee, but I don't know.
The same thing as like pareidolia or whatever. Your ears can experience pareidolia just as easily as your eyes can experience pareidolia. So like if your ears can't make out what they're hearing, they try to make sense of what it is, and then whatever's familiar and is close to that, your brain will think that's what it's hearing.
Nice one. So, Sophia, what did you think to the documentary, what they did?
I thought it was great. I know a lot of teams just put together things about their evidence, but I liked how you did cutaways to talk about actually what happened and explain it, because I know a lot of teams don't really do that, so I thought that was awesome that you guys did that.
Thank you. Our little interviews. Can I say one thing? You did cut out the bloopers. That's the best part.
But I think when we do our documentaries, we kind of do it in a style of stuff that we would like to see. And I do like the backstory. I like the investigation and the evidence, but I also do want to know the backstory. Yeah. I mean, you kind of want to know why you're there. Why did you pick this place? Why is this place important? Like, why does this place have a story, or does it even have planes? Yeah. Or are you just a team going in there going, oh, this looks spooky, let's hang out in here for a little bit. So kind of important to incorporate a little bit of that.
I also think that the way we look at it when it's finished, if we are bored by it, we have to change it. Like, if we wouldn't watch it, nobody else would watch it. So, we have to make sure that as long as we think it's interesting and we would watch something like that, then we can put it out and show it to people. Yeah. Sometimes it takes a long time to get them ready.
So I noticed that you were using a full spectrum camera on that investigation. What is the theory behind using that? Like, why do you use it?
Because it looks cool.
Looks pink.
We look great in it? No.
Yeah, well,
no.
You look better in night vision. Everybody looks better in night vision, right?
I think because we know you don't like the Frank's box, but I think, which, I'm not sold on it either, but I think with any of the equipment out there, we're open to at least trying once or twice to see what kind of we get from it. Yeah. And I think from there, we can make a judgment call. It's like, well, we had some luck with this, or, this worked out well, or maybe this didn't, So I think depending on where we're going, the claims and what's going on, we kind of choose what what we're going to use to try and capture our evidence. So I think that camera did well.
Yeah, Matt, our camera guy actually was one filming that portion.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of times these infrared cameras or UV cameras, or they're all different, night vision or whatever you want to call them. They can pick up like balls of light that we wouldn't see with our own eyes, and sometimes we have. I hate orbs, by the way. I hate orbs. I don't know what any of that crap is. Don't show it to me because I'll turn it down.
It's crap.
But I will say that we have come across a few really weird balls of light that we can't explain, so we will present occasionally if there's something we cannot explain as being dust or a bug or moisture in the air or something like that.
Differences between what we believe are orbs and then what we, as a team, we'll say, oh, that's an orb, which means it's dust or a bug or something. And then there's things that we believe are light anomalies.
Yeah.
Which
something that's like pulsating and it has its own like source of light.
That could be interesting. So,
but I also don't really like those as well either because I think it's just.
It's not a strong piece of evidence.
It's not. But sometimes we'll let one of those in.
We'll let one of those slide.
Sometimes we'll let it in. Most of the time I turn that stuff down.
Emily shuts everything down. We have so much evidence that we don't put out there, that we don't put on our website because as a team we have to agree upon is being paranormal.
Majority rules, but usually I rule.
Emily's our boss, so she, But
if the whole team is like, oh my God, that door opened on its own, and I said, well, that's because I opened this door and it's called suction, then I say, or you know what I mean. If I know in my heart that everything that they just saw is not paranormal, I'm not going to allow it.
She won't let us. And she won't let us put it out there. And, I mean, I think it's good. I don't think it hurts us, but I do think a lot of other teams they'll just put stuff out there like, oh, what was this?
Almost just to have something.
And we don't have as much out there as other teams because we really filter our stuff. Like, and we will not put it out unless
there has been at least a handful of investigations we've done where we have not had anything. And just because you walk away with nothing doesn't mean you didn't do what you're supposed to do. Right. But it also, like, people are expecting something from you sometimes whenever you go there, and it's like, I'm not going to present you something just because you want something.
Yeah.
So if we didn't come across anything that we thought was unexplainable, we're not going to present anything. So there's at least a handful, I would say, of places that we've gone where we haven't got anything.
Yeah, spirit orbs and stuff like that, there's just so much for my liking. I'm really not a fan of orbs, but the only way one would convince me is if one was intelligent, and I've said this before many times in the past, if I could talk to one and it would do specific movements. If it would go to the left, go to the right, go up, down, on command, then that would be a bit interesting. Mm-hmm. And that would probably make me think, well, if I can talk to this, then surely it's got to be something intelligent, and maybe that could change my mind.
Yeah.
But that has never happened. Every time I've tried talking to one, it just goes.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Maybe it's like, don't tell me what to do. I'm going over here.
I'm going to do what I want. I do what I want.
I feel the same way. Like, I don't really know how to feel about orbs. There's a couple photos where I'm like borderline, like I'm not sure if this is real or not. I know I took a couple photos on the Queen Mary, and one of them had a bunch of like dots that kind of look like dust, but I took multiple photos and it was only in one, so I'm not entirely sure about that, but I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain when you don't know for sure, but they're really iffy.
Yeah, like the pictures that people will send you of like one really big orb like right here, and it has like a face in it or something.
Yeah.
For me, I just think that's pareidolia. Like, I think that it's the way that the dust caught the light during the camera shooting, and there's so many different little like factors.
It just goes back to it's not a strong piece of evidence.
Yeah.
Wrong. We don't present it.
So what, like, with orbs and stuff, like you've just been saying that you see massive ones. Do you know why that is? Do you know why they look so big on camera at times? If not, I know the answer.
I'm gonna say maybe they're closer to the lens than the other pieces of dust or bug or whatever is flying around in the air. I think distance maybe has something to do with it. Also, whatever it is could be bigger in size in general versus other, like if it is a piece of dust, maybe it's like a piece of fuzz or something, like refracting light or something, and it looks bigger. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways to go with that, I think.
Nice. Well, looking through your YouTube channel, I've looked at a lot of videos, so I'm gonna question you on something.
Go for it.
You know what I'm like. So I noticed that you do a lot of EVP videos and etc. So how do you classify something to be paranormal during an EVP session?
I think, okay, so I feel like a lot of, anyone can present an EVP, and it can sound like, whatever. I think it really goes back to personal experiences and
whatever the situation was,
well,
too. If there's 8 people in a room and you hear a whisper, how do you know it wasn't one of those 7 other people in the room with you?
But I'm saying, like, as humans, and there's all these teens out there who you don't know if you can trust them or not because you weren't there when it happened.
You probably don't trust our evidence, do you?
No.
Oh, me?
Which is fine because you don't know these people, you don't know their morals, you don't know if they just want to put evidence out there, you don't know what their motives are. So I think it all kind of comes down to trusting if they're going to put out a solid piece or not. For us, I mean, we definitely don't just throw stuff out there, but we are very particular about who's in the room. We like to keep our base camp outside.
Base camp is usually, like, if it has to be in the same building as where we are investigating, it is as far away as possible from where we're actually conducting the investigation.
We
but
try to
for the most part, it's in an RV. We usually take an RV to the location, and that is 20, 30 feet from the building as far as we can get it with the cords. And so as long as that's not contaminating what we're doing inside the building, because people will talk sometimes whenever you're investigating. If you don't know what you're hearing, you're going to listen to it later. You're like, oh, wow, someone just said she's a bitch. So so you have to try to make sure that you create a situation that's not going to get contaminated.
I want to answer your question. Do I trust your evidence?
He's
truthfully, right? Right? But when it comes to every YouTube video, I'm going to talk about everyone now. When it comes to every YouTube video, I do not believe that one video is a genuine spirit or something along them lines, because the only way I will find out is if I was there. Recording taking place. But
that's what we're doing, is trying to show you our personal experiences that we believe were legitly unexplained.
But you were going to say but.
But I know you two, and I've talked to you two. I've got to know your motives, your methods, and I would trust that you would not fake evidence. So that would make me trust your videos. But another but.
Make a smile. So
another but. But I would not believe they are ghosts. At this point.
And because you're a skeptic.
Just because we post it and we believe that it's something paranormal doesn't mean that it is. Like, there's no evidence to prove that what we think is unexplained is actually a ghost. So I can see what your perspective on that. Yes.
So if you were to post something, and if you were to say a door were to slam, I would trust you saying that, but if you got a picture of an EVP, I would probably think it could be some clothes moving or something along them lines if there's no footage there.
Yeah. Right. I mean, sometimes when you're wearing jeans on an investigation and you rub your jeans together, it can sound like a demon, like growling. So, and if we try to tag every single noise that is made, if the two of us are in a room together and I hear like a stomach growl, like, Gina, did your stomach just growl? And she'll say yes. Or if I burp, I'll say I just burped. Every tiny little noise we make, whether it's a movement or a body noise, we always tag it. Because
Cool.
when you go back and listen, like I said, you go back and listen, fucking genes rubbing together, sounds like demon growling, like you never know what you're going to come across when you're reviewing. So make it easier on everybody else when they're listening to tag every.
Yeah. I'm going to put Sophia on the spot now, actually, and I'm going to say, would you trust their evidence?
I would, because I saw your video. I really liked it. You told a backstory on it, which most people don't do, which is really cool. I know you are a skeptic of a lot of things, Emily. So, if you filter all of it, then I don't think you would put out something that you really don't believe is paranormal. So I would. Plus, you guys seem like great girls. So.
Thanks.
And they also steal my show.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have us on.
Sometimes we just take over.
Yeah. So, as a general, like, what would it take to actually convince the team that a place is haunted? Would you need to just capture an EVP, or would you need to all see something?
It's hard when you talk about haunted. Like, the word haunted is really weird for me because you can go into a location and not hear or see anything with your own eyes and then go back later and pick up a bunch of EVPs. However, you aren't being, like, communicated with, you know, in real time. And a haunting is supposed to be something that's, like, active and, like, I don't know, just
It's
a lot of stuff happening, you know, like two people. And I think if we go in there and it's really quiet, and obviously one night doesn't necessarily determine, you know, if a place has activity or not. But I think that being haunted versus having energy are two different things.
It's going to take a lot to answer your question.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to take some pretty big experiences.
If we
for us
have
to
like
go.
5
For us,
personal
yeah.
experiences and we come back with audio and video, I think I could probably say
For us to walk
it's
away from the, like, investigation over, we're wrapping up and walking away, for us to go, that place is haunted, it's going to take a lot.
And I can tell you, I don't think we have said that about a place yet. Literally, like, said this place is haunted.
We've definitely had some weird experiences and some evidence that we've caught that we can't explain, and we sit back and we go, what is that? That's freaking weird. We have no idea what this is. But I don't think we've had, but, you know, we say that, and but people who aren't into this would be like, that didn't convince you? Like, like, that didn't convince you it was haunted. And
but
we're like,
when you're in this field and you see this kind of thing all the time, it kind of becomes like
you start to get immune to it almost
to
sometimes,
a lot
I
of
think.
things.
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump to Sophia to ask a question, and then I'm gonna tell someone a bit about something later on. So, yep, Sophia.
What aspects of the paranormal would you pass on to your children or future generations of ghost hunters someday?
I would just like, in general, for them to keep an open mind and not be fooled too quickly.
Yeah.
But not be closed-minded to things to think things aren't possible. And to just, you know, be safe if you can in some sort of manner. There's definitely different ways, you know, physically, don't go into buildings that, you know, are going to make you sick with asbestos and stuff like that. Kind of be smart about it. Don't fall through any floors. Like, what are you doing? Okay.
If you start out like I did, going into abandoned buildings, which don't tell anybody that, but you could get into a lot of trouble, like physical, like health-wise and law-wise.
Law-wise,
so, I don't do that anymore.
I definitely. And plus, as parent, like, come to me. Like, if you need, like, who else are you gonna go to? You know what I'm saying? Like, you have the source right there. You know?
I think I agree with you. I would like for, if I were to ever have children, or if I were to speak to like up and coming investigators, I would agree with Gina on keeping an open mind. But I would also say, like, be careful, not physical wise, spiritual or whatever. Like, I don't know anything about that world. Like, you don't know what you're dealing with. Be careful spiritually
and financially. There's a lot of people out there that want to take your money. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, yes, come on over.
Tourist trap.
$500 to stay the night. Over. So I would say just be smart and keep an open mind.
Do you want to know what I would say to my daughter?
Yeah.
I would say Number 1, ghosts don't exist. Number 2, question everything.
Yes, that's a good one. I agree.
And that is all I would say.
They don't exist, but question me on that.
Yeah, question me saying this to you because you have to question everything.
Question everything.
There you go.
So what I was going to talk about is paranormal activity in general. Like, I have never said a place is haunted, and I'm not quite sure if I ever will, but hopefully one day, who knows, something might change mine. But there was a location which did kind of re-spark my flame, so to speak, and it's meant to be Europe's most terrifying poltergeist case in United Kingdom, the Pontefract poltergeist. And basically, we were doing a documentary there, and we set up a K2 meter, a temperature meter, an electrostatic meter, ultrasonic meter, and some other types of meters. And basically, there was scattered in every room, bathroom, bedroom, living room, every room. And before we started the investigation, every meter went off at the exact same time. It was just one big ringing noise. It was like a burglar alarm went off. So that was the only place what actually interested me, because I cannot explain that. And that's just like, wow.
That instance right there is what made you question, or was anything else? Did anything else happen there?
Did anything? What do you mean? Can you just explain yourself?
Like any other experiences that night at that location that made you? It was just okay.
Just that one.
Yeah. So it was before the investigation even started. It was us just putting stuff about, and then it all just kicked off. And
they're all battery operated type things. They weren't like plugged into the same like outlet or anything like that.
They're all completely scattered. It's good. You've always got to ask questions, but I am still not saying that was a ghost. But I would say that was some kind of paranormal activity. Now the chat room might go, "Oh, Lee, you're talking about ghosts." No, I'm not. I am just saying that I can't explain it. Right. The paranormal does not mean ghost. It means anything which cannot be explained. It's a wide variety. Right. So that's kind of my view on paranormal activity. So for everyone out there, yes, I do believe that things can happen which can't be explained, but I do not believe in ghosts at this point. So I just thought I'd like to get that off my chest.
What would you describe a ghost as?
A ghost?
In your mind, what is a ghost?
Like the full-bodied apparition?
No, I mean like, is a ghost a lost soul from a human being that has passed away? Is that what you...
If I was to believe in ghosts, that is what I would think, yeah. Okay,
so you don't believe that the souls get lost after the body passes?
I believe when we die, that is it. That's my own view.
Do you think the energy just like disperses out into the Earth's atmosphere, or what do you think happens?
I will find out when I die. I really don't know.
I agree.
I really don't know.
I don't really know either. I just want to know what your thoughts were on it.
What does Sophia think?
Personally, I believe that the afterlife is a ghost, which I believe is just our soul in purgatory, because you don't see ghosts from dinosaur time. You don't see them at certain points in time. They just disappear. Well, where do they go? My only guess could be is that they're waiting for something. They're in purgatory. Yeah. They all disappear at some point in time.
So has anyone seen the movie Beetlejuice?
I have.
Okay, so it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I've just watched it again. Like, it's probably been 10 years since I've seen it, but I just watched it again the other night, and I was reminded that there is the Book of the Dead, or the recently deceased. So when you die, you get a book, and it tells you what you're supposed to do. And you have so many years that you're supposed to live in the house that you died in. Like, gosh, they lived in their house for like 130-something years. They had 130 years to live in their house, and then they were to move on. So I think that's what happens.
What? You're being serious?
No. But I love that movie, and I think it's awesome. It's a cool way to think about it, right? I mean, how do you know?
She's wrong,
have you ever died? No, you don't know.
I was going to say you're meant to be the skeptic.
It's just really cool to think about, you know. Have you seen the movie?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Oh, you have? Okay.
It's
Don't
cool.
miss the movie. It's a good movie.
So let's talk about your next investigation. What is going to be your methods of investigation? What are you going to do at the Axe Murder House?
Well, that's not our next one. Our next one is...
We can talk about that one, though, because I'm excited.
I don't even know what we're going to do at this one, because it's too far away for me to plan.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go upstairs in
Or
the closet.
and lay down on the ground with an axe by your face.
No,
just like that.
I'm not going to do that. Okay. But no, I want to sit in the closet because there's been a lot of activity in that room. So I know that I want to go in there by myself, maybe with no equipment, just for my own, like, experience, to go in there and sit in that room by myself and just see what happens. But I think I'll have to decide, like, what kind of equipment I want to bring up there with me when I'm done having my quiet time.
Okay.
You?
I don't have any plans yet.
What about Morse Mill?
I haven't. Morse Mill. Morse Mill is a different story because we had Melissa out there, our psychic. So I kind of want to touch base with the things that she was communicating with. So because like the last couple times we had been there, we only really knew what the website had said, and we hadn't gotten really to do a lot of research on the property when we had popped in and out. So we're going to do some extensive research. We haven't started that yet since it's not until November. We usually start at about a month before the investigation. So some extensive research to see what type of things this building has been in the past.
Interest.
There's rumors that it was a brothel. There's rumors that it was a hotel, and I mean, there's all kinds of rumors attached to any building, really. So
we'll probably set up our DVR at the hot spots.
Yeah, we'll set up the cameras where any type of activity has happened in the past, and we've got like a mental image of some of the spirits through Melissa's findings, so we can communicate by asking these spirits to come forth. And I think
there is supposedly a child spirit there, so we have our new what is it, the Boo Buddy? We got a Boo Buddy.
Yeah.
We'll play with, see how that works out. You know, maybe it doesn't work at all, but we got one to see how that does. So, I mean, we have EVP recorders, we have our cameras, we have our REM pods. I mean, we'll probably just...
Our REM pod did something weird when we were there. When we took Melissa there, when she was walking around in one of the rooms, we had the REM pod set up on a chair, and no one was even like 5 feet from it, and it started making a really weird noise, almost like it was about to turn off. It had brand new batteries in it. We hadn't even used it yet. So I can't explain that. So that'll be interesting to see if something happens in the same room. And this, you know, we'll probably put the chair up in the exact spot it was, put the REM pod back there. We had to actually turn it off and on again for it to stop making the noise it was making. So it's possible that it was something faulty with the device. Who knows? We'll see. We're going to test it out again.
With REM pods, it kicks out electromagnetic fields, so if there's something which is actually interfering, so that there could be a police radio scanner nearby or something like that, which could interfere, or a phone signal, but I'm not quite sure because I wasn't there, so it's, you know, it's you guys, innit?
Yeah, well, and this place is kind of out in the middle of nowhere. There is a main road by the entrance, but it's out in BFE. I think we talked about BFE last time. Do you remember what BFE is?
No, I don't.
It's hard to get cell service out there, and it's kind of like back in the not woods, but it's back. There's nothing out there.
There's no like big city anywhere nearby. Like you're probably
Which not to say that you still can't have that stuff happen.
No,
but
right. That doesn't mean that there aren't truckers moving through and stuff like that. But, you know, like I said, we couldn't explain why it did what it did, so, you know, maybe we'll test it out again and see if that happens. We have our K2 meter, which is now my favorite toy for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's because it's so simple.
Let me tell you why I like it. I actually like the K2 meter only because it helps debunk stuff. And that's the reason why I like it.
Yeah, I like it. I like it for that reason as well. We also have our Ovilus.
I'm not a big fan.
I was probably the reason why we got it because I was intrigued by it. I'm like, okay, this thing has like thousands of words in it. How does a spirit know what level to enter its energy into this box and what word it's going to pick. Like, I'm so confused, like, by how this thing works. So that's why I wanted it, and I wanted to test this thing.
But what if I speak Spanish? Or
Yeah, it's English. So, well, they might make Spanish versions. I don't know. We bought the English version.
I don't know.
So,
Let's jump camera actually to see what Sophia thinks about these devices. The Ovilus, the random word generator.
Well, I think you know a little bit, Lee, about how I feel about it. I use the Ghost Radar app, which is basically the same thing, just free. So I use them, and I think they work. I don't know how they work. I've used them in cemeteries before, and they've generated words that it shouldn't say. Like, it's just hard to explain. Like, we said, we're gonna leave, and then it's like, okay. Like it didn't say okay, but it's like, okay, let's get out of here or something.
Huh.
It was just weird. It generated weird things like that. We were looking for a tombstone. It said the name.
Okay, so I'll say the Ovilus, like I said, I don't really like it very much, but it did impress me one time, only once. It always says the word Jim. It always says the word Saturn.
Jim.
It always says demon. It always says, like, Farfignugan. I don't know. It says all these words all the time, the same words in every location, except for one time. We had gone to the Crescent Hotel, and that's out in Arkansas, right? Yeah, Crescent Hotel in Arkansas, and it's huge. Like, it's huge castle-looking hotel. And it was spitting out a bunch of the same random words it always says. And then it said the word Norman. And we've never heard it say Norman before, and I haven't heard it say Norman since then, but it said Norman, and Norman is the first name of the gentleman that built this hotel. So I was like, okay, that's kind of weird.
Sometimes I just wonder if we're using it wrong. Like, because other people have really good, like, they've had...
Well, people claim that they have had it work. We don't know, sometimes when someone tells you, oh, I think you're having a really hard time in your life right now, you can apply that to any part of your life. You know what I mean? So if this word comes up and it says ground, and you're like, oh my God, I'm standing on the ground.
Air. I'm breathing air. Oh my God.
If you have the mindset to make whatever is happening apply to the situation you're in, you're going to believe that it works. So I'm not saying that these people that we have spoken to that have used it say that it's successful are lying or anything. I just think maybe they just believe it too much, kind of thing. I don't know. Or maybe our device is broken. I don't know. Maybe we got a broken one in the mail. I have no idea. But ours doesn't seem to deliver very often.
I know there's different settings on it. I don't personally own one, so I don't know those settings, but when I've used other people's, like, I don't know, they just, like, do a bunch of things to it, and then it starts working normally, and I don't even know.
We usually use it on, okay, so there's a Q&A mode, which never works, ever. You're supposed to ask it questions, and it's supposed to respond to you. It never responds, ever, okay? So then there's a dictionary mode. A dictionary mode and the Q&A mode are the ones that we have used.
That's what it does. That's what it does.
And the dictionary mode, it just spits out words whenever it wants to. Sometimes it'll go a few minutes without saying anything at all. Sometimes it'll say 15 words in a minute. Like, it just has a mind of its own. So what we try to do is we try to use both of those modes in the situation. Like, we haven't really, to be honest with you, we haven't had it that long. So we've only been able to use it probably a handful of times. But when we have tried it, we try to use it on the modes that we understand what it means. We haven't gotten to use it as extensively to understand the whole device yet. So I think, that's why I want to keep using it, because I just want to try to fully understand what it is and what it does.
I think people who have bought an Ovilus as literally had their pants taken down and shafted. That's what I think.
So are you telling me that I have something put up my ass?
Is that a bad thing?
That's what I truly think, right? Because it's marketed directly to ghost hunters, and it's, if you read the description, it claims to talk to actual spirits. Mm-hmm. When every person knows around this chat now that is not scientifically proven yet, right. But yet there's this device out there which is oh, it can talk to ghosts and you can have a real conversation with it. Is it worth using? Yeah. Should it be classed as real evidence? Maybe not. If you're watching it on YouTube, the chances are that the people have actually gone into the word bank and put their own words in there, so they can make it say whatever they want to say. So if you're going on YouTube and if you notice a video getting amazing responses, I'm not saying that it's fake, but there's a very high chance that they could have manipulated that device to say them actual words. So I've got to be cautious with it when it comes to these type of apps and devices. It's just not enough evidence for me. But I have had a good experience with one what I've actually held in my hand, which I checked the word banks of as well. And I said, if you said this certain word, I will eat a fly, and then it said fly. So that was a bit strange, I must admit. But then I said, well, if you say fly one more time.
Did you eat a fly though?
No, I didn't.
You didn't.
That wasn't the word.
I know, but he said
But then I said, if you say fly one more time, I will eat a fly, and it didn't. So yeah. So
it did. Okay.
So that's my view on it. Sadly enough. So have you got another question, Sophia? Last question.
What is your favorite piece of equipment to use on investigation?
Me. I'm gonna have to say the EVP recorder. I do like the K2. I like the K2 a lot, but we have gotten the best responses from an EVP recorder, and I can't explain how it picks up voices of things that we don't hear in real time. Like, that's really intriguing to me, and we have, like I said, we've been pretty lucky with, audio. We've gotten quite a bit of interesting, unexplained audio pieces, and I think that's probably my favorite. K2 is a number 2 on my list.
Yeah, that's a hard question for me to answer because I'm indecisive, and I think depending on what the claims are and what the location is, I want to use different stuff, and I like to try to learn each piece of equipment, so maybe sometimes I'm using something more than the other just because I want to get to know it. But I think I really like the K2, as simple as it is. I think that's one of the reasons I do like it is because it's simple. I like the idea of the REM pod. I want it to work. I think it's neat, but that doesn't mean that it's a solid piece of equipment. Yeah. I just like it. I think it's fun.
I like the REM pod too.
But I think to fall back on by default, I think an EVP recorder. Yeah.
Cool. Let's actually finish on this then, and we could all talk about this. Let's talk about the best steps to conducting EVP. Starting with Sophia, just name one thing.
I guess leave a pause so you actually get a response. I know some people will just jump from a question to another one. Just leave some time so they can actually say something.
We usually say 7 to 10 seconds. We're always like, sometimes we get the homeowners that want to sit in on an investigation, and we're always like, okay, feel free to ask any questions. However, make sure you leave a pause, 7 to 10 seconds between each question. Sometimes they get excited, and they're all like, what are you doing in my house? What's your name? How old are you? They start asking all these questions.
Why won't you answer me?
Slow down. So, that's a really good point.
I would say if you're making a noise, tag it, because that helps during.
That's one of our biggest pet peeves is when someone doesn't tag a noise that they have made themselves. Get the fuck out.
If you just ripped ass, fucking claim it, because we're gonna know. We're gonna be like, what was that? That was your mouth or your throat
or your other mouth or something. But so my personal, not pet peeve, but I guess the most important thing for me on conducting an EVP is get everybody out.
Yeah.
When you don't need 5 people in the room, get everybody out and make sure they're shutting up. They're gone. They're as far away as possible. Make sure there isn't a refrigerator running. Make sure that the fan's not. You got to make sure that it's 100% completely quiet.
Try to get a controlled environment. It's close to a controlled environment.
Because the pareidolia thing, if you have dripping rain, just like in the mini doc that you showed, I talked about at McPike Mansion, it started raining. So when we went back and listened to the EVP, we had the static EVP upstairs, all you hear is dripping rain, and you start to listen to that for 25 minutes straight, it starts to sound like people talking or singing or something. Like your brain starts to try to make sense of what it's hearing, and that's not cool. So you got to try to make sure, like you said, like a controlled environment. Make sure that it's completely quiet. Remove any animals from the situation. Do not have cats and dogs or birds at your house or at your building. Remove them all. That's another thing. Like, just if they can go somewhere, put them somewhere else. Just for the night. It's just one night. Remove any other humans that don't need to be in there. If they want to hang out and watch, they can hang out and watch at base camp on the screen. And then make sure all the like machines and whatever is in the room are turned off. That's fine.
I know you said take all of the animals out of the room, but I know some animals can see ghosts. Would you ever take an animal on an investigation like a dog?
We would. We haven't come across that before. Most of the cases that we've gone to, if there are animals in the situation, there's never really been a story of the animal interacting. So if there is something like that, we would be willing to let them stick around just to kind of like observe their behavior and things like that. But most of them haven't had a type of story in that situation.
Because I know at my old house, whenever the ghost would be in my room, I could see it. My mom would feel it. My diamond dove birds, they would just start flying around the cage frantically. My dog would bark in the one place where that ghost would be, so she could see it. So I know I had an experience with that.
Yeah, I mean, if we had a story we came across like that, and there was animals in the building still that, you know, still interact with the spirits, we would keep them around for certain parts. I wouldn't say the whole investigation, but I would say certain parts of it, because sometimes people have cats that are in other rooms and they're like running and jumping off of things and like making all these noises, and they're like, what was that? You hear that in the room? And no, it's a cat jumping.
And they're like, by the way, there's cats.
Yeah. Oh, okay. There you go. And then we have to write off everything. You know what I mean? Like, you can't trust anything that you're hearing at that point. If there's an animal in the distance that you can't catch and you can't figure out what you're hearing, you know, when in doubt, throw it out. So that's why I prefer to remove, uncontrolled animals from the situation, unless, like you said, if there's something that, like a cat is like interacting with a spirit, it's got to be in the room with us. We have to be watching it and paying attention to it, and and then at that point, I don't know, EVPs might be a little weird with an animal because licking themselves and making all those noises.
Yeah.
Let's go one more round to see if we can all give another tip. My tip would be to have a camera watching the EVP at all times. Always have a camera there. So now it's Sophia's turn. Can you think of another tip?
I guess just don't ask too many questions in a row. Like, I know I was saying leave pauses, but don't ask 30 questions on one sitting. Just take breaks too.
Yeah,
on that note, I would also like to add,
don't make them too long.
Well, no, don't ask general questions. Try to get specific.
Well, you can
ask.
Are
you there?
Are you there?
Yeah.
Somebody here with us.
I don't think those questions are bad, but I think you just need to get creative with it. If you're trying to spark activity between a specific ghost and yourself, if you know the name of that ghost or what year they died, start talking about those things that pertain to that spirit. That might be more likely to get a response, and it's also less boring to listen to. If you're listening to the EVP and you're hearing the same questions over, I get that, but I think it's so good to ask the regular. I like that question.
No, it's not. I don't think
if you're here making noise, guess what? We've had a response from that before.
Actually, that did totally work for us.
So I wouldn't say that.
But I think you should extend past those. You should.
Yeah, you need to be creative, and you need to think about the research you've done on the property and start asking questions that pertain to what the property is about and who's been there. I want to talk about what you said, Lee. I want to talk about how you said, now I forget what you said. I went too far out of it. What did you say before this?
What was your second tip?
Yeah.
My second tip was to have a camera watching
the
recorder.
Okay, I want to say something about that. Okay, so we've come across things to where we've had one camera on a certain area of the room, and we're standing 2 feet out of the area of the camera, and we're like, okay, So I just heard a really weird noise on the EVP, but I can't see anybody's mouths, and I don't know if somebody like swallowed or something. So what we have been lately trying to do is make sure that we are all in view of this camera and have multiple cameras on you if you can. However many cameras you can have in a certain situation, obviously they're going to interfere with each other with the IR lights and things like that. But if you can have 2 cameras on your situation, making sure that everybody's mouths are in view, that's one of the best things that you can do, because when you hear a weird noise and no one tags it, you can go back to that video and watch and make sure nobody's mouths are moving. And if you don't see somebody's mouth moving, you don't see anything moving in the room, and there's a weird noise, it's kind of more likely to be unexplained than if you don't have video to go back and watch.
Yeah, I've always said, if you have the resources, the cameras, have a camera watching a camera, watching a camera, watching a camera, so you've got the complete view of what that camera's seeing, and you've got the complete view of that camera. So in a theory, you've got the complete view of the structure. But I would also say one more thing as a tip: have dual redundancy. So what I mean by that is use the same recorder. Try to buy the exact same recorder of what you're actually using and put it bang next to it. Because if you capture something, it should be on both of them, and if it's not, then it would probably be a malfunction.
I would agree with you on that. We usually set up, we have, I would say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 EVP recorders total in our whole team. Some people have their own personal recorders, and then we have like 3 or 4 that belong to the whole team. And what we do is we set up static recorders in as many areas of the building as we can, and then we carry around recorders with us for like instant review recording too. So if there's a static recorder in the room with us, and then we also have our handheld with us and we're recording, we get something on that and we get something on that, it's easier to cross-reference and see exactly what it was, debunk it, and things like that.
Agreed.
And I want to say that what I thought you were going to say earlier was do smaller EVP portions. Don't do like a 4-hour EVP thing. Do like 10 minutes, 5 minutes sometimes.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there and listening, and you're just like zonking out whenever you're listening to an EVP recording. It's easier to do it in smaller portions than to do like one really long one. Now I know when you have a static EVP, those people are unlucky. They have to go over those 8 hours. Sorry, but if you get lucky enough to have just the little spurts that you get to go through, it's a lot easier to go through when there's smaller sections of time.
I would have to echo what you're saying. Don't do long EVPs because it's just going to waste your time. It's just too much time consuming. So what I tend to do when doing EVPs, I ask 2 questions at the most. I stop and I play it back there and then, so I don't have to review it at home. But I do know people like to review it at home, but but they enhance it and stuff, and I'm like, well, I don't want to enhance it. I want to hear something if there's something here and now. So
it would be nice to do that. It would be nice. And we sometimes will give the EVP recorder to our base camp bitch, Jeff, and we'll say, hey, review this audio we just recorded and let us know if you find anything. So I don't think we have come across anything live review just yet, but it usually happens when we go back and review like days later.
Nice one, no problem. We're going to end on a game. Right, this is what we need to do, and everybody text part. We will start. It will be Gina, Emily, Sophia, and me, and you've got to name one piece of equipment one by one, and the first person to not name one drops out. And we just keep on going and going.
Oh Jesus! I get to start.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, so I just repeat what she says and add one, and then no?
No, you just keep. We're just gonna keep it going.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm gonna start off easy. So I'm gonna go with EVP recorder.
REM pod.
Dowsing rods.
K2 meter.
Boo Bear.
Ovulus.
Ghost Radar app.
Piece of paper.
Oh!
Laser grid.
Night vision camera.
That stick man camera thingy. I don't know what it's called.
Temperature gun.
Floor camera.
The geo shit. Geo freaking...
Eliminated!
Did I lose?
No, but I'll let it out.
You know what I mean.
Sophia, no, you're eliminated.
Thermal. I'm not sure if she said that, but thermal camera.
How about your own body?
That's cheating.
That's not cheating. Is that cheating?
Not a device.
I think your body can be a piece of
I
equipment.
guess. Well, not me. Okay, I can't be.
Data logger.
A laser pointer thingy. That
Speed
laser
set.
grid.
It's been said. Eliminated.
Oh!
Okay, so it's my turn. Yeah. Shoot.
I said time's up.
That means I win then, yeah? Yay!
Yay!
Okay, so what I was saying was
Geophone.
the geophone, the thing that you shoot.
Yeah, the
you know,
vibration.
just trying to say.
The vibration detector you mean, didn't you? Geophone.
Camera. Did anyone say
I
camera?
said night vision camera.
No, just like camera.
Oh, well, yeah, just regular camera.
Oh, well. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, Gina and Emily.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
And it's also been a pleasure having you co-host with me, Sophia.
Thank you for having me co-host. It was awesome to interview you both, and I had a lot of fun. Thank you.
No problem. So what is your future plans, Gina and Emily, for the public, and how can they find you?
Find us on our website, 3girlsinthedark.com with the number 3 not spelled out. You can also find us on all social media platforms. We are on everything. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Vine, YouTube,
And soon to be Periscope.
Periscope. We're gonna try it out. I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. We also have our Halloween party coming up. We kind of want to plug that a little bit.
We'll be at Scarefest this weekend.
Oh yeah, this coming weekend, Scarefest in Lexington, Kentucky. So if anyone is in that area, we will be there. We're gonna party hard with all the paranormal partiers. But we'll only be there on Saturday. We can only make it to the Saturday part of the convention. So.
We're throwing a Halloween party in St. Louis, which you can find all that info on our website.
If you want to fly overseas and hang out on Halloween, you're more than welcome to come. It's going to be a big dash.
Maybe in a few months, like I said.
There's going to be a DJ, there's going to be a band, we're going to have tarot card reading, we're going to have Ouija boards, we're going to have all kinds of fun stuff. So
it's at a haunted police station.
It's going to be fun. So anyone that's in that area, it's an open public event, so anyone can come. But it's 21 and over, because there's alcohol.
Sorry.
Sorry, Sophia, you can't make it.
How can people find you, Sophia?
I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. Twitter and Snapchat at Sophia Temperilli with 1 L because my name's too long. I'm on Instagram just at Sophia Temperilli.
Cool, awesome.
Have you got any upcoming events at all?
Not right now. Trying to figure out the whole junior thing. Trying to get out of high school. That is #1 goal at the moment.
No problem. Yet again, thank you, Gina, Emily.
What was that?
I said thank you, Gina and Emily. And thank you to Sophia.
Thank you for having me. It's been an awesome time. Thank you so much.
And thank you to everyone watching on paranormalmagazine.com, projectreveal.com, paranormaldatabase.com, Ghost of Britain, YouTube, Viso, Broadband TV. Thank you.
Thanks.